I call to order the August 25th, 2014 regular meeting of the Lakewood City Council. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Murphy?
Here.
Shakti?
Here.
Roybal?
Here.
Johnson?
Here.
Quinn?
Here.
Paul? Coop?
Here.
Fairway? Kellen?
Here.
Wickman? Harrison?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silent prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. It's very quiet in chambers tonight. Will the clerk please read item 4 into the record? I agree.
Item 4, Resolution 2014-29, appointing Kevin Yoshida to serve on the Board of Directors of the Lakewood West Colfax Business Improvement District.
Any comment? I know it's a little out of order, but it's a quiet night here.
Good evening. My name's Ron Abo, ABO. I own a business, the Abo Group Architects at 8025 West Colfax, and Kevin is my partner. And we are very bullish on Colfax. We just bought the building in June. We actually moved in June, and I'm on the board at the WCCA. We're very heavily involved in 40 West Arts, and we want to see Colfax succeed. And I'll also speak on the other resolution that you have on the bid, because without the support of the bid, WCCA couldn't do what they do, and neither could 40 West Arts. So, and what a gem you have with Bill Marino, because he keeps it all together, and I think we want to name him Wild Bill Colfax.
Nice. I like it. Thanks, Ron. And the building Ron is talking about is the Document Solutions Building, which many of us who've been around for a while remember as something called Lakewood Lanes, a great piece of Colfax history. So, all right, so we have a resolution. I'm ready for a motion, right? It's not on the consent. It's not on the consent agenda. So move for.
I move for adoption of Resolution 2014-29.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, please cast your votes. Councilor Paul had to think about it, but eventually we got to unanimous vote. Thanks. And thank Kevin for us as well, for his willingness to serve. All right, this is the public comment portion of the meeting, and again, we're limited to 3 minutes. I expect only 2 or 3 comments. I'm going to dispense with the instructions and invite, let's see here, invite Chief Dan McCaskey to come forward.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm here tonight on behalf of Ralston House. It's our Child Advocacy Center, and I've been in front of you several times before for Ralston House, and I'm here tonight to invite you and all the citizens of Lakewood to our 0.5K race. And I'll reiterate, it is 0.5K. It's not a 5K, it's 0.5K, so it's about 1,700 steps. And we are holding it September 13th in Belmar this year. It's our first year in Belmar, so we're very excited to be able to go over there. And it's going to be right in the plaza area where the ice skating rink is during the winter. So it's a great event. We're going to have a lot of our police vehicles, fire department vehicles over there. Jefferson County Sheriff's Office is going to have the bomb squad. And all of this is to raise money for Ralston House, which is, as I said, and most of you know, a child advocacy center in Lakewood and Arvada, and we've just recently expanded into North Glen. Last year, Ralston House saw over 900 kids who were victims of either physical or sexual abuse or witnessed violent crimes. And this year, we're even on unfortunately, we're on a pace to see even greater than that number. So it really provides us a valuable service. And in the police department, we are really committed to this organization. They've done phenomenal work, and we couldn't do our jobs without them. So we also have a lot of support from council. Councilor Harrison's on our board, and City Manager Kathy Hodson's on our board, and we really appreciate that support and all that they bring. So please, if you can join us, September 13th, it's a Saturday. Registration starts at 9 a.m. The event starts at 11 a.m., and it's a great family event. And I want to lay down a challenge, too, because Arvada we held a race up in Arvada. They had over 400 runners, and I think I'm a little biased, but I think Lakewood, we're better than that. And so I'd really like to challenge our citizens. Well, I know we're a lot better than that, okay? I'm sorry, okay. So I better not drive in Arvada anytime soon. I'll probably get a ticket. But we're better than that, and we really would like a good a turnout for our community and show our support. So thank you all for your previous support. And I know there's a lot of great nonprofit organizations in our community, and they all do a lot of good work. And so I just appreciate all your support for Ralston House. So thank you.
Thanks, Dan, and thanks for your involvement as well. Obviously, it is a great and worthy cause. Karen, did you want to add anything? Don't mean to put you on the spot, but
just sign up.
yeah. And Kathy.
Can I add one thing also? As of last check, Lakewood had 96 runners who had registered, so we need to really ramp that up, and so we gave a challenge to city employees to participate as well. So we're hoping to beat Arvada by a big number.
It is a great event. I mean, some of us need to start stretching and working out now a few weeks in advance, but we'll be ready to go for that 0.5K. I look forward to it. I will be there.
Well, thank you, Mayor. And Councilor Paul led us in the stretching last year, and he did an admirable job. So
and nobody got hurt.
Nobody got hurt that we know of. But thank you again, sir. Thank you all for your support.
Great. Thanks, Dan. Anybody else? Public comment, non-agenda item? James? Mr. Mace, please come on down. Take your time.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. There is a very serious issue on Kendall and Colfax. I have joined the Adopt a Street program, and every time I try to clean up Kendall and Colfax, more trash ends up in that area. It's a constant battle. Now, every day I see more and more homeless and more drunks. Last time I was up here, I asked the city to please do something. I am doing that again. I am tired of coming up here. I am asking the city to please listen to me and do something. I know that it's not just me that gets frustrated with this, but it's a constant battle. And because of an issue, I'm not going to go into detail, but I'm getting real tired of this, and it's a safety issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mace. Anyone else in chambers wish to make a comment on a non-agenda item? All right, with that, public comment is closed, and we will move on to the consent agenda. The use of the consent agenda is made to expedite council action, and tonight it does contain both resolutions and first reading ordinances. Resolutions are items normally of a very routine nature. Tonight we're actually going to have presentations on both of the resolutions on the consent agenda. First reading ordinances appear on the agenda only for the purpose of setting future public hearing dates and ordering the newspaper publication of the proposed ordinance. Therefore, no public comment will be heard this evening on either of the first reading ordinances that are on the consent agenda. The public will have the opportunity to comment on the proposed ordinances during the scheduled public hearings on the dates set tonight by City Council. And again, I would add, in the case of these two ordinances, not just at that public hearing date, but anytime between now and then, since they are not rezoning cases. Will the clerk please read the items on the consent agenda into the record?
The consent agenda consists of items 6 through 11. Item 6, Resolution 2014-30, approving the 2015 operating plan and proposed budget for the Lakewood West Colfax Business Improvement District. Item 7, Resolution 2014-31, establishing certain fees for the City of Lakewood relating to construction permits, building permits, and inspection of work in the public way. Item 8, Ordinance 0-2014-18, authorizing the conveyance of a permanent utility easement to Public Service Company across a portion of Bear Creek Lake Park for an underground gas line benefiting the city's Bear Creek Lake Park Visitor Center, further accepting a quitclaim deed or some other related document from Jefferson County to the City of Lakewood, releasing the open space restriction on the permanent easement area. Item 9, Ordinance O-2014-19, authorizing the city to convey an easement for waterline facilities to the Green Mountain Water and Sanitation District and accepting an easement quitclaim deed from the district conveying portions of an existing easement to the city and further accepting a document from Jefferson County to the City of Lakewood releasing the open space restriction on the portion of land acquired with open space funds, all within William Frederick Hayden Park. Item 10, approving minutes of the City Council meeting, the regular City Council meeting of August 11, 2014. And item 11, accepting minutes of the boards and commissions, the Advisory Commission for an Inclusive Community Executive Commission meeting of June 4, 2014.
Thank you. As I said, we're going to have presentations on both item 6 and item 7. The first one, item 6, is approving the 2015 operating plan and proposed budget for the Lakewood West Colfax Business Improvement District. And apparently we will first be presented by Bill Marino. He's ready to call you up again, Ron, but I guess...
You can come back if you want. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Councilor. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share some of the exciting things that are happening along West Colfax. I get asked to speak from time to time at a variety of civic events, and when I go, I don't just tell the West Colfax story. I don't just tell the 40 West story. I tell the Lakewood story, because we're all part and parcel of the same community. And the future of West Colfax is intricately tied to the future of Lakewood. I won't go into my typical long explanation about West Colfax. I'm sure you're well versed in that. But what I will share, it's always a struggle to come here. And as much as I enjoy it, to be able to pack into 10 minutes everything that happened in the last year and everything that we're planning for the next year. But I'm going to do my best in the next 10 minutes or so to walk you through that. I'll cover the bases quickly on the things that we have to cover, the background of the bid, some of the blocking and tackling aspects of that, an overview of our 2015 plan, a little look back at 2014, and then some things that I want to share with you looking forward. While today is all about the Business Improvement District operating plan and hopefully your consideration and approval, we don't go anywhere where we don't talk about all three of the organizations that are focused on the same mission. They're all working together to energize West Colfax. Yes, the Lakewood West Colfax Business Improvement District is the operational platform with the sustainable funding. As Ron had mentioned, it provides the fuel that allows WCCA and 40 West to do what they do. The West Colfax Community Association executes the business programming that the bid funds, and 40 West executes the heritage, arts, and culture programs that the bid funds. I'm going to talk a little bit more about each in a moment. We certainly wouldn't be where we are without being the beneficiary of a lot of partners. When 40 West was recently designated a state certified creative district, one of the things they pointed out is that, boy, you guys sure know how to partner. We wouldn't be here without the stories that can be told about each one of those logos up there, but we certainly wouldn't be here without the support, guidance, direction, and collaboration with the City of Lakewood. And on behalf of all three of the organizations, I just want to say thank you. I don't think we can say that enough. Okay, quickly through some of the nuts and bolts. We're a duly formed business improvement district by Colorado revised statutes. We're a 4.2-mile stretch. I'll show you along West Colfax. I'll show you the map in a moment. And there is absolutely an ever-changing mix of 600-plus businesses and property owners along the district. Our boundaries are Depew to the east and Welsh to the west. Our north and south boundary varies, dropping down to the station areas where we can, and taking in some other commercial property. We also pay attention all the way to Sheridan, to our border with our big brother to the east, Denver. While it's not officially a part of our business improvement district, we certainly can extend our service area into that. But that's what our footprint looks like. A few dates that are significant. This process really kicked off well before the West Colfax Action Plan was published in 2006. That was a 2-year effort. I know, Mr. Mayor, you chaired that when you were on council, and there were many, many citizens involved in that process. But that's been a city and citizen planning effort that was the bedrock of what we've been working on since 2009, when we launched the bid campaign, all the way here until late summer here in 2014. The rest of those dates just kind of give you an idea of the progression of how we got to where we are. It's not a surprise that what a business improvement district is about is the image and identity of its district, advocating for improvements, seeking other sources of funding to move those projects forward, certainly working in collaboration with others to support economic development and business attraction activities, and then really to administer and manage those programs that we support. We have our own board, and as of tonight, Kevin Yoshida is a part of that. I can't tell you how excited I am to have Kevin as a part of our board. He replaces Don Marshall, who was the prior owner of the same building that the Abo Group moved into. Don served for more than 2.5 years and was an integral part of what we did. And Kevin and his partner Ron Abo, who was up here a moment ago, have plugged themselves in immediately. As Ron mentioned, he's already a member of the WCCA board. Kevin is partnering with Councilwoman Barraway on the West Colfax Vision Group, and now he's a part of the Business Improvement District Board, and I couldn't be happier. He is an exciting young man, and we're so grateful that he has decided to serve. I know that you all have a copy of the larger plan that goes through this in more detail. I'm going to spend a few extra minutes on the 12 focus areas that were highlighted in that plan. The entire detail is in this narrative. But just as I mentioned our purpose, we're focused on awareness, image and identity, advocacy for the district, and business attraction and economic development activities. Our proposed budget for 2015 doesn't vary much at all from last year. As you know, we are 100% funded through revenue that's generated in the corridor through a mill levy on commercial property. And with the TIF in place, our budget, the increment actually goes to the Reinvestment Authority. So our budget really won't vary much year after year. I think we came in within 1% of that. We haven't received our preliminary assessed value estimate from the county yet, but last year, as I mentioned, it came in about 1% from what we projected. I'm going to quickly move through these 12 areas. Because I know that there was narrative in the plan, but there's a few things that I want to showcase, and then I want to report on some results. The two largest components of our funding area is 40 West Arts and West Colfax Community Association. Those two are the heart and soul of how we execute programs in the community. As I mentioned, 40 West Arts now is a state certified creative district. That comes with a full slate of new assets from the state of Colorado, from being a part of their social media campaign, from being listed on their website, from being included in their directories, and being a part of putting materials in all their visitor centers. It's going to bring more opportunities, more exposure to the corridor. West Colfax Community Association, as you know, is our business association, but it also embraces the neighborhoods. All the neighborhoods have representation on it, and they have grown significantly in the last year, and I'm going to share some details about that. I think most of you are aware that the three organizations together wrote a grant to the State Historical Fund to do a historical resource survey along West Colfax, something that had never been done, to look at the buildings that are more than 50 years old in the corridor. A preliminary survey identified more than 500. The good news is that that survey is underway. There's volunteers in the field, and reports are already being delivered to the state, and archives are being updated at the county. I'll mention a little bit more about that in a moment. As we move into 2015, I mentioned that a vision group is moving forward looking at what do we want West Colfax to look like in 20 or 30 years. It's picking up where the West Colfax Action Plan that was published in 2006 left off. This initiative was actually started with WCCA in collaboration with the BID and was headed up initially by Mr. Abo. Once he became a part of the WCCA board, he lit the initial fuse on that, and thank you. And we've now constituted a much larger organization, and it's going to be an exciting next year, and we will publish both findings and recommendations that will come here before, I believe, the Planning Commission and City Council. So stay tuned for more. As we look at both branding and promoting the corridor, both the Arts District component and the corridor at large, perhaps one of our biggest areas that we have to work on, perhaps after floodways and floodplains, is placemaking. To have people realize that they're in somewhere special when they cross that border. So we're going to spend a great deal of energy and time looking at what we can do quickly and what we want to do long term, both in conjunction with the Vision Group and in conjunction with 40 West, but to find ways to identify 40 West, to find ways to brand and showcase West Colfax Corridor. And some of the other focus areas fall into the same category. Item 6 talks about publishing an annual magazine, something that showcases the history, the heritage, the people, the places of West Colfax, not just of the past, but of today and the future, to be able to capture that and use it both as a sales piece to attract businesses, but also as a commemorative piece for the future. With the city's help and in collaboration with economic development, we're going to publish the first pilot component of this by the end of the year. But we're going to be looking at an annual publication moving forward that's a coffee table caliber. It's going to be highly designed, nice looking, and something that people want to keep. And it's something we think will serve the corridor well. We're also working on a project that I know I've talked to many of the department heads here at the city about a potential pocket park and signage project at the corner of West Colfax and Wadsworth. I have a few visuals to share with you, and I know that there are certainly many hurdles to overcome, but I want to ask you to envision the possibilities in just a moment. We're also working with the ABO Group and the new owners of JCRS Shopping Center, which is now Lamar Station Plaza, to establish a visitor center for West Colfax and visitor centers for Lakewood with kiosks where there will be materials for things to do and places to go. The Vision Center is envisioned to be a place where developers and investors can come to sit around a table and really see the vision on what we hope to accomplish along West Colfax. You've also heard me talk about the possibility of a Lakewood-based business incubator. The mayor mentioned it in his State of the City address earlier this year. We are making positive steps in partnering with First Bank, partnering with REMCAD, and also partnering with the city to make that a reality. The last three are sort of the blocking and tackling components. We have certain requirements for the Business Improvement District to conduct maintenance. We will continue to do that. Those capital improvements that fit within our budget, we certainly will do, and we continue to work with the city to prioritize those things that we think can have the greatest impact. As an organization, we are also information intermediaries. So you probably are the recipients of emails and social media from us often, and we hope that you read them cover to cover. A couple of things I'd really like you to share that weren't a part of the report here is some of the progress that we've made in the last year. Many of you have been to WCCA over the years, but in the last year, middle of last year, we merged WCCA into the Business Improvement District infrastructure. And since then, its membership has grown by more than 80%. If you've been to a WCCA meeting, you know that something's happening in that area. If you haven't been in a while, please stop by. Every third Wednesday at 7:30, we'd love to have you. There's coffee, burritos, and some sort of pastry, all for free, and you get entertained by us with all the information that's happening in the corridor. Please come by. I've mentioned to you about 40 West Arts and its state certification. All that slate of benefits also comes with some grant money, which we're going to put to good use as we look at doing some of that placemaking that can differentiate 40 West from other areas and also West Colfax as a historic heart of Lakewood. I hope that all of you have been to the Edge Theater. It was just a little over a year ago where they were thinking of either leaving town or shutting down. We gave up our vision for artist studios in the back half of 40 West Gallery and gave them a new home. Since then, they've not only doubled their ticket sales, but they were recognized as Season of the Year in Westward Magazine. If you haven't been lately, it's time to get a ticket and come by. The next show starts a week from this Friday. It's called A Steady Rain. It's a crime drama. Don't miss it. I think most of you are aware of the Colorfax program. It's a program to bring color to Colfax via murals. We have 3 new murals since that program started, and there's 4 more on the books. The item there at the bottom, the Artist in Residency program is a partnership between Metro West Housing, REMCAD, WCCA, 40 West, and the BID to pay for a senior at REMCAD's housing at Lamar Station Crossing in return for her providing service back to the community. And this has been one of our most successful programs. Our artist in residence this year is a young lady named Ryan Matthews. She's an education art major, and she has developed a program per month that not only serves the community at Lamar Station Crossings, but also serves the 40 West community at large. I'm not going to go through all the rest of these items. There's a long list of progress. I mentioned to you the Historic Resource Survey. We were able to get a report from the city that showed that sales tax in the corridor from 2012 to 2013, which is the most recent data that we've seen, is up 11.6%. And I have to say that the collaboration that we've had with the Economic Development Department has really helped to supercharge some of the initiatives that we're working on. The level of resources and information that they bring to the table, along with their energy, it's been a very valuable collaboration and part and parcel of us moving forward. There's a variety of other initiatives that are continuing to move forward. We're still working towards achieving an art space project. There's a festival that I think some of you may have heard we announced, and I'm going to touch on that before I close. And the investment in the corridor continues to grow. I know the mayor had Senator Bennett out here on a tour not so long ago, and there was a great discussion about infrastructure, light rail, and the impact of that on investment in the corridor. A couple of things in closing. Last year, when I came to you to give this report, I asked you to imagine a few things, and one of those was to imagine a broken down shopping center that could be revitalized. And it was pure imagination at that point. What I'd like to flip through are the plans that the new owners have provided us for what they're going to do to the new Lamar Station Plaza. I'm not going to give you the whole presentation, but I just want you to see that if you can imagine it, that's the first step in making it possible. So Broad Street has a three-phase plan to transform old JCRS into Lamar Station Plaza. And we couldn't be happier that they are adopting the 40 West Urban Design and Mobility Plan's signage straight out of the plan that integrates their monument signage, wayfinding, placemaking, all within the context of the 40 West brand and color palette. They have plans for pedestrian areas, gathering places, a completely reconfigured parking lot that makes it easier for people to get from point A to point B. And their vision really is to make it people-friendly and multimodal friendly as well. They're going to be investing not only in the parking lot and new lighting and landscaping, but some outdoor spaces, public spaces that 40 West Arts may be able to program with music, as well as gathering places that may be part of new restaurants and brew pubs. And finally, they've reported that they have a handshake deal for a new lease with our friends at Casa Bonita, and they're looking at improving that entrance and making it more of a feature. Casa Bonita is celebrating its 40th year. I think any other shopping center in town or across the country would take Casa Bonita, and we're delighted to have them a part of our community. So what do I want you to imagine next? Well, a couple of things. And I hope that I can come back a year from now and report on exactly what's happened. I'd like you to think about that southwest corner of Wadsworth and Colfax. 26,000 trips a day on Colfax, 70,000 or so on Wadsworth. And that, on the top left, that's the parcel. It's a remnant piece of land that's undevelopable, that's currently, some would say, an eyesore. We'd love to turn that into an asset, a gathering place, a public park, and not only a public park where people can gather while they're waiting for the light rail or making their walk over to Walmart or some of the other assets in the corridor, but also to place a sign that is iconic, something that harkens back to the heritage of West Colfax, something that people would travel to just to see and step up on the platform to have their picture taken with. And not only would it be a sign, but it would have a jumbotron attached to it. Something that wasn't commercial, but something that would promote the cultural elements that are taking place, not just in the corridor, but throughout the city. A place that those 90-plus thousand people can see as they're toing and froing through the city to say, I do want to stop at the play. I do want to go to the cultural center to see the orchestra. I do want to stop at that gallery. And I know that there's work to do to get there. But just think of the possibilities of the impact of a sign of that magnitude. It would become iconic. People would say, hey, I'll meet you at the sign. So imagine that. It's a possibility. In about a year from now, there's a new festival. It's the West Colfax Mural Fest. This is going to be a festival that celebrates West Colfax history and heritage through the art. It's the process of creating an outdoor gallery. Every year, we're going to identify a section of the corridor where we can pull artists from around the country, both locally and around the country, to do murals. This coming year, we're going to close down West 16th Avenue, and we're going to paint 7 murals in 1 week, and then unveil them on a festival day on a Saturday. Mark this date down, August 8th, 2015, for the Mural Fest. It's something that all 3 organizations work together. It was all part of their strategic plans to come together to celebrate the corridor, to bring people into the corridor to celebrate its past and look forward to its future, but also to spend dollars. So it's about attracting people to the corridor, and the West Colfax Mural Fest is the festival we've landed on. If you want to learn more, visit westcolfaxmural.org. There's more details, and you can even sign up to be a volunteer. I'm guessing I went over 10 minutes, but I'd be delighted to answer any questions. And in the absence of those, I just want to say thanks. We really couldn't do it without you. Every one of you, one point or other, I've spoken to about West Colfax. Many of you have come to our events, and we appreciate that very much. We're not finished. There's so much more to do. Yes, we've made progress, but give us 5 more years. This October, we're hitting 5 years of this effort. In 5 more years, I hope we can accomplish 5 times as much. So thank you very much.
Bill, thank you. Tremendous job, as always. And I want to thank you for, obviously, your energy and your leadership. I mean, that was, as always, a dynamic, invigorating, and, as you said, imaginative presentation. So thank you. Any other comments or questions from council? We do have a business matter to attend to here, and that's the approving the resolution. Why don't we do the motion in a second on that?
It's still on consent.
Oh, it's still on consent. I'm sorry. It's on the page by itself here. All right. So any questions of Bill? All right. Let's move on to the next item. Item 7, Resolution 2014-31, establishing certain fees for the City of Lakewood relating to construction permits, building permits, and inspection of work in the public way. And Ann Hine, our city engineer, will make the presentation.
Thank you, Mary Murphy. I am Ann Hine, City Engineer, Public Works Department. I have a brief presentation for you tonight on the land development fee update. It's a lot of charts and graphs. It's in a similar format to what we showed you 2 years ago. This is a routine evaluation we do every 2 years, and this is the current update. We've used the same approach this year that we have used in other years. We define land development fairly broadly. It's what you think of when you think of land development. A developer comes in and requests to rezone a property or subdivide a property, but it also includes all the permits and fees associated with that as the project moves forward. It also includes permits that are issued to a single-family homeowner if they want to remodel their home or add a shed or add a fence. So it's a broad range of permit fees that we'll be talking about tonight. As I mentioned, this is a process we go through every 2 years. We first determine the costs and revenues. Then we survey the market. And on this slide, market is in quotes because it's not a true market. If you want to build a home in Lakewood, you have to get the permit from Lakewood. You can't shop around and choose another jurisdiction in which to get your permit. Once we have the data from the cost and revenue analysis and the market analysis, then we determine whether or not we need to modify fees. We have 2 broad goals that we use through this process. One is that revenue should approximate costs. Development should pay its own way. The folks that use the development services should pay for those services. So that's the overarching goal. But we also want to be competitive in that market. So we want to be competitive with the other jurisdictions in the Front Range. The first step is to look at cost and revenue. This chart shows the cost and revenue since 2000. The red line is cost, the upper line. The blue line is revenue. And I'll go into some detail about how we determine those lines. I'll start with costs first. This is a service, so most of the costs are related to people, salaries and benefits. We have several work groups that devote 100% of their time to the development process. For example, planning development review is 100% development. Those work groups, the entire business unit in the budget factors into that cost line. But we have other work groups that only spend a portion of their time on development. For instance, property management or economic development support the development process, but they don't spend 100% of their time in that. So we do prorate time based on a percentage of the time that each employee spends in development. The cost line also includes some business costs, such as vehicles for inspectors, and administrative costs, such as the credit card processing fees. We do take a lot of fees by credit card, and we have to pay those bank fees. It does not include overhead, so things like phones, computers, IT support, building maintenance. Those overhead costs are not included in that red line on this graph. Revenue is a little more straightforward. It's generated from the fees collected through planning processes, building permit, grading permit fees, other permit fees, and contractor registration fees. It does not include construction use tax. That's collected with certain building permits, but it's not factored into this revenue line. It also doesn't include impact fees. So things like school land dedication fee or cash in lieu of parkland dedication is not included in this revenue line. We also have made some adjustments for one-time occurrences that create a skew in the data. For instance, when the W line was constructed, we issued a lot of permits over that 5-year construction period. But the permit fees were part of our local match, so we didn't have any revenue generated by that project. And yet we had a lot of costs. We had some additional employees and additional costs related to that. So instead of skewing the data on the cost end, we eliminated all the costs because we didn't have any offsetting revenue. Another example is the re-roof blitz that we had after the July 11 hailstorm. We had an uptick in revenue because we had so many re-roof permits, but we had a lot of additional costs as well. We had hired 11 seasonal temporary roof inspectors to help with that effort. So we've taken out all the re-roof costs in both lines to sort of normalize the data. You can see at the end of 2013, we have a gap between cost and revenue of about $650,000. And we are proposing modifying the fees to close that gap by about $300,000. The next set of 5 slides I have look at each building or each permit group. And the slides are all similar. The data is a little bit different, so I'll orient you on the first slide, which is building permit and plan check fees. On the left side of your slide, you'll see a lot of jurisdiction names. They're hard to read, and that's on purpose. We don't want you to focus on which jurisdictions are where on that chart. That list of jurisdictions will change with each chart. Not every city or county issues the same kind of permits, so we weren't able to compare each group of permits to every single jurisdiction. The other thing that changes on each chart is the bottom line. It's always in dollars, but the increment changes. In this case, the increment is in $5,000. The blue bars are a compilation of several different permit scenarios for each chart. In this case, for building permits, we looked at 6 different building permit scenarios, ranging from replacing a water heater in a single-family home all the way up to a major commercial building valued at $3 million. So we figured the permit fees and plan check fees for each one of those scenarios for each jurisdiction and added them up, and that's the blue bar. So it's not a permit fee, and it's not an average permit fee. It's a compilation. You can see Lakewood's existing building permit and plan check fees are fairly low in the market, and we are proposing an increase to bring us up to about the middle of the market. You'll remember a few slides back I talked about that market competitive goal. We're trying to be in the middle third of each group of permits in relation to other jurisdictions in the Front Range. I won't go into the specifics of the increase for each permit group, but in your packet you did have a document called Current and Proposed Fees in red line form. That goes into detail about each permit change, or each fee change, I'm sorry. The next group of permits is the public way permits. These are permits that are issued for contractors to work in the city's public rights-of-way. For instance, a utility company that wants to come in and install a new line or maintain a line has to get a public way permit from the City of Lakewood. We are proposing a small increase in the public way permit fees, mainly to keep the minimum permit fee consistent across all the permit categories. The next permit fee category is grading permits. We are proposing another small change. You can see that this increment is down to $200. Grading permit fees tend to be a low-cost permit. The minimal increase is to keep that minimum permit fee consistent with the other permit classes. The one thing that we're not changing in the fee structure is that grading permits that are issued with a building permit are no-cost permits. So if you are building a home, you get a grading permit and a building permit, but the grading permit is free with the building permit. So we only charge for a grading permit about 10% of the time when someone wants to grade ahead of other construction. The next permit fee is stormwater permit fee. This is a permit that the state allows us to issue for sites between 1 and 5 acres. Sites over 5 acres, the applicant has to go to the state to get the permit. When we were first allowed to issue the permit, the state established the fee at $459, and we've kept it that way, and we're not proposing a change. The last chart is not a permit fee, it's a contractor registration fee, and you can see this increment is fairly low. It's a $50 increment, and we are not proposing a change to the contractor registration fees. So if the fees are approved tonight, they'll become effective October 1st. That gives us time to notify contractors and developers, update our web pages, and update our computer system that calculates these fees. After implementation, we'll continue to analyze the development fees every 2 years, and we'll use the same process that we've used currently. That's the end of my formal presentation. I'd be happy to field questions.
Thanks, Ann. I'll just start out with a comment/question. I'm going to assume that some of those revenue tendencies have to do with the marketplace in terms of a recession in 2009. We saw the revenue drop a little bit, and obviously development activity has increased a lot in the last couple of years, and that's part of the increase in revenue, just the sheer amount.
That's true. The revenue line, you can see from 2005 to about 2010 was dropping, but there's a spike in there at 2008 that coincides with a recession, which is kind of counterintuitive. But that is also the time that Karma, Colorado, at that time now Brookfield Residential, came in with the Solterra development. So there were a lot of development fees up front, and that's what spiked the revenue in 2008. Then things dropped off, but now we've seen some growth in development, and between 2011 and 2012, that increase in line is the 2-year effect of the increase that you approved 2 years ago, plus the background growth in development activity.
Thanks. Anyone else?
Yeah, I just have
Adam?
Thanks for the presentation. So it looks like we never will recoup all of our costs.
We would like to close the gap.
Yeah.
we don't want to overshoot and be charging more than we should, but our goal is over time to close that gap. Because we're not including overhead costs in that cost curve, you can say that we're never going to recoup all of our costs because we systematically reduce that cost line by not including the overhead.
Sure. So where do you think, if we close the $600,000 gap, what would that put us at the top of every every community?
It would certainly put us higher, and as I showed in a few of those graphs, we're kind of high in that market. We're still sort of in the middle third where we want to be, but we're kind of high. For example, though, things change in the 2 years that we take to between our evaluations. Things change. I'll use the building permit chart as an example. When we talked to you 2 years ago, the proposed line was up sort of in the middle of the graph. But other jurisdictions have increased their fees or changed the way they calculate fees. And when we looked at it this year, we were pretty far down in the market again. So that kind of thing happens over time. And if we evaluate, if we keep this consistent evaluation every 2 years, we're going to be able to creep up and not be up at the top of the market.
Okay, thank you.
Karen?
I'm not sure how to ask this question, so bear with me, Ann. Do other cities close the gap between revenues and costs with their...
I can't honestly answer that. When we do our market survey, we just ask about costs. We don't ask other jurisdictions about their revenues. So we don't analyze whether or not they are recouping their costs.
Because I noticed a lot of these were kind of in the middle, but I noticed on the contractor licensing fee, we were fairly high on that list, as I remember.
We are a little bit higher than the majority of the jurisdictions, but you can see that the increment is $50, so averaging
huge.
about $130, and most are in about the 100 range. So it's not a significant difference.
Then why, when you talk with contractors, we either get, gosh, Lakewood is a fantastic place to do business, or we get that other comment, and we won't go into it. Do we know where that comes from? Is it just the building inspectors that they work with? Where is that comment coming from?
I don't know, but I do know when we talk to our colleagues in other jurisdictions, they ask us, what's Lakewood doing right? Because we hear that it's easy to work in Lakewood, but not in our community. And then Arapahoe County might hear something different. Denver might hear something different. It's kind of a buzz in the communities that...
It's probably the same contractor saying the same thing, going from city to city. It's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll offer an opinion there, and it's certainly it's a business in which, as somebody that wants to remodel a home or as a contractor, you don't always get the answer you want to hear, and for very good reason. And sometimes when you don't get the answer you want to hear, that's the interpretation. All right. Anyone else? Great. Thanks, Ann. All right. Now ready for a motion on the consent agenda.
Mayor Murphy, I move for approval of council minutes, for acceptance of the minutes of the boards and commissions, order all ordinances introduced on the first reading to be published in the Denver Post with public hearings set for the date included in the ordinance, and for adoption of resolutions, all of which are included in the consent agenda items introduced into the record by the city clerk.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, please cast your votes on the entire consent agenda. And it passes unanimously. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Ann. Great presentations. On to any general business? I don't think so. Any executive report, Ms. Hodson? The council reports, I don't really have anything other than I assume Streets did a little bit of work on that USA Pro Challenge yesterday, helping that move, at least skirt the northern portion of Lakewood. It was really, anybody that got a chance to go out and see that, it was really a remarkable event to see some of the best riders in the world whiz by you in a blur. Really remarkable athletes. So, Adam? Scott? Shakti?
I just want to say that the Ward 3 Monday morning picnic will be canceled for Labor Day.
Councillor Roybal? No report. Councillor Johnson?
No report.
Councillor Quinn?
No report.
Councillor Kellen? Councillor Harrison?
Oh, I wish I had something, but no.
All right. We are adjourned at 7:55 p.m. Thank you.